Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us again today. My name is Dante from Opus, and you are tuning into another installment of Dante's Information Download. I am super excited to have the conversation today with my friends Chris and Mike here from Fuel4Pros. They are doing something that hasn't been done in the dealer space, hasn't been done in really any space. And what they're doing is they're turning browsers into buyers, right? And so when you think about running any kind of business, but specifically in the automotive segment, right? We've only seen 1% growth from 2017 to 2022 on average, right? We had a couple of years that were pretty good, but things are kind of going back down to the status quo. And so what they do is they capture that data of people that are actually looking and turn them into real buyers. And what that means, right, is you're not fighting off other people as you're buying different leads, because we know that the average cost per automotive lead is at least $250. And then you're, stacked up against other people, but you're getting real, true people with intent, which is great, right? And you can super target them, you can hybrid target them, you can get them into the place that you need to, right? Because one of the statistics that I've been finding in the automotive consumer, kind of section of the industry is 95% of vehicle buyers use a digital source of information prior to buying, right? So what does that mean? That means online, just like everything, right? And two times as many of those consumers start their research online versus at a dealership. So with Fuel4Pros and this massive, platform that they've built out that is so awesome, it allows you to tap into that market without actually having to go out there and kind of pound the pavement, right? Hit the phones. People don't want to pick up the phone. They start everything online. So what could it look like to capture those people before they even know that they're captured into your database? So I'll quit. Like I said, I was super excited to go through this whole thing. I'll hand it over to Chris, and he's going to go through a little demo of the platform.
Yeah, thanks. I really appreciate that, Dante. So I'll go ahead and kick things off and kind of give a quick presentation and an overview of our product, how it works, and what it means to consumers that are purchasing leads or thinking about partnering with us. So I'll go ahead and share my screen. So Fuel4Pros was actually founded by Burton International. So Burton International was actually founded by James Burton. He's actually one of the co-founders of CarMax. So obviously built that company up to a very high standing, was able to, sell that, that company and started a venture capital firm. And that venture capital firm is Burton International. So he started Burton International, and one of the first things that he wanted to do is what kind of wanted to jump into the lead gen space and kind of create something, still stay kind of in the automotive sector and see how things are going, and see if he can build something for himself. And that's when he, go ahead and started what we call C3 Dealer. So C3 Dealer is what we're talking about today, and kind of what we're reviewing is what we're talking about: leads, connecting them with customers, turning browsers into buyers, right? So when he started C3 Dealer, he realized, after the initial success that he had, like, hey, I wonder if we could actually do this with any other type of lead, or is this only working for auto, right? So that's when he started off with solar. So he started working and partnering with a number of solar people, started doing this with solar, and then realized, after success with that too, he's like, hey, I'm having success with auto, I'm having success with solar. Maybe this isn't vertical specific. Maybe I can do something that, encompasses everybody, right? All customers across every vertical. And that's when he came up with Fuel4Pros. So this is our website right here. So Fuel4Pros stands for, fuel is follow up every lead, right? So it's following up every lead for professional salespersons, right? So this is the website that we actually came up with. So this is the one that kind of tells the story of who we are, the products that we have, what our initial offering is, and how we connect customers, with their potential customers, right? So again, as Dante's mentioned and I've mentioned, our pretty much our mantra and what we do as far as our tagline for our company is turn browsers into buyers, right? So I'll jump a little bit, back into this page as we, kind of wrap up the demo. But I wanted to kind of let everybody know the journey of how we got here, right? From CarMax to venture capitalism, from C3 dealers, C3 solar, all the way to Fuel4Pros, which is who we work for, right? So what we do is, when you talk about, our process and what makes us special, it really comes down to, I would say, three pillars, right? So the first pillar is connect. So that's connecting people, right? So how do we connect people, on the site, on the service? Well, what we do is we actually have what's called billboards, right? So they're digital billboards that we actually connect our customers with, right? So if you take a customer like Luther Nissan in Inver Grove, right? So they're a customer of ours. They're Luther Nissan in the Grove. This is one of the billboards that we actually created for them, right? Now, our digital billboards are set up in a way to where they loosely and kind of closely mirror the actual primary website. So Luther Nissan has their own primary website. These digital billboards that we build for them can range anywhere from 200 billboards to 700 billboards and plus, depending on what the customer's needs are. These billboards are designed to loosely create and build just like the primary website, right? Because we want the look and feel to mirror what they're having. So if the customer is shopping online for a car, we don't want one website to look drastically different than another website because then it doesn't look seamless. It doesn't look like it's all one, right? So any call to action on this page, whether it's search our inventory or if they click on search cars, search crossovers, SUVs, any call to action will automatically take that person to the primary website for Luther Nissan, right? So how we connect them is if, let's say, Luther Nissan is in Inver Grove, right? But they also want to look like they're in Mendota Heights. So what we do is we create these digital billboards under a company that we bought and now own called Page One. And what Page One is doing using a specific, type of long tail keyword that we actually have, right? So there's specific words that we actually have. So we're not just using just keywords, just using traditional SEO keywords for this and that. There are long tail keywords that we actually use that makes this special. We have a secret formula for that. And what that does is because we roll out these 700 billboards over the course of, let's say, 120 days, that's what's boosting the domain authority for the customer. And it's kind of our Google hack, right? So it's how we get customers onto page one of Google. And that's why it's called Page One. Now, we're lucky that this customer's been with us for a very long time and performing well. So that's why they're actually on Page One and they're actually number one on Page One. And as you can see, they're ahead of their competition of Cars for Sale, Klein, Nissan. So they're ahead of those people on there. So they're ahead of their competition by using us and actually using, our technology and how we can actually, connect them to that. So there's the connect piece for that. And that's what the sitemaps are. So sitemaps are where we're actually having those billboards at. So these are the sites that those billboards are actually located at. So the goal is to make Luther Nissan appear to have a brick and mortar shop in all these different locations, right? Because as we know, when you're shopping for cars, you could have someone from out of state. You can have someone from 2 states over. If you're the only dealership that has this specific truck, this specific SUV, people are willing to, drive and have a buddy, drive with a buddy over to get it. Or if the plane ticket's $150, they have no problem doing that to come over to get this car that they are desperately looking for, that you are the only person that actually has it. So depending on the customer, you can have it, 700 billboards. That's a lot of area to actually spread it out, right? So this person is looking at, pretty much almost all of Minnesota and a couple of other places and surrounding areas as well, right? So that's how we actually, accomplish the first part as far as connect. How we capture, right, is and this is kind of goes into our tagline of turning browsers into buyers, right? So if any customer comes onto a website, they're scrolling around, they're looking around, depending on, the type of website and how much information is there. And let's say, maybe I'll just get back to this a little bit later, or maybe I'll do some research, this weekend, right? And they just hop off, right? The person that owns this website has no idea that this person was on there. They're curious about an SUV, curious about the latest Nissan. They have no idea what's going on with this customer, and they'll never know that customer exists. Well, what we do is on every single billboard that we have and on every single site, the primary site of the customer, we install our script. So we don't rely on cookies to track information and get that digital footprint. We actually have a script that we actually put on there that collects 600 points of data for the actual customer. So every customer that you actually have that scrolls on this website, that doesn't go to a form fill, that doesn't request an appointment, we turn those into leads. And that's how we capture that information through our identity resolution. And again, that's up to 600 points of data for that customer.
Well, and
So
one of the cool things I want to go back to, right, is how you're creating all of these like micro sites. Because one of the statistics that I found is that any average buyer is visiting 4.2 websites during their buyer's journey, right? And so what
right.
if, on that previous page where they were dominating that Google search, people are going to click on like like I said, maybe 4 to 5 different places. And if you own all 4 to 5 of those places, you've captured that client. And then with their scripts that they do, they're accessing 600 different data points, right? People are on their mobile phone, people are at their house, people are at their work, right? These could be 3 different locations, right? And so geofencing, geo-targeting, being able to capture that person in the moment and make sure you're redirecting them to your website, to your inventory, to your dealership is really crucial.
Right, exactly. And I couldn't agree with you even more. And if you look even here, so here's Luther Nissan, right? And our page one is above their actual website that they have here, right? So that geofence does work. And because of the way we roll it out there, and because it doesn't mimic every page, is not mimicked to be perfect and just copies and duplicates of that. That's also what keeps it from getting flagged. So that's also a part of what makes us special, is how we roll this out, how we set this up, how we do things, to help the customers get that geofence and get the areas, and get those customers coming in so that they have access to them, right? So that's a great point, that you brought up. So that's how we capture the information, right? So how we actually convert them is in through Fuel, as I said, coming back to it. So we have our own BRP, right? So that's Fuel, and that's what's not only storing the data, but it's also housing all the leads for each customer, right? So has all the points of data that you can actually ask for everything from, household income, how many people live at the house, if they're a cat or a dog owner. They do because we partner with TransUnion, we do a soft credit pool. So that also gives certain people an edge on the type of customers that they actually want to pursue. And what's nice about this too, as well, is that with customers that we actually have all this information in for, we actually convert them because we actually do the reaching out for them. We retarget each of those customers for our customers. So that's another thing, Dante, that's nice about this, is it's more of a set and forget. There's not a lot of work for our customers that actually goes into that as far as what they do. So we have SMS cadences, email cadences, all best practices. All of these cadences and text messages also are also approved by our customers before we send them out. We let them know what words we're going to be using, what long tail keywords we're going to be using, how we're going to be targeting these customers. And that's what makes us so successful, is we're partnering with our clients to make sure that we get the best outcome, and they're understanding the words that we're using. If they have links or anything that they want us to add in there, any other call to actions that they want, promotions that they're running for winter, holidays, anything like that, we can modify those, switch those up, and we can actually throw those in there as well to make them more successful and collaborate and partner with our customers. And again, we think of it more of a partnership as opposed to a vendor customer relationship. So when we're retargeting these people, we're sending these out. We have specific cadences and times that we actually do this, so that also we're following in TCPA compliance. We're not blowing customers up. We're not spamming them, anything like that. It's all done professionally and within the scope and range of what's accessible today. Does that make sense?
Definitely. And so the thing I want to drive, right, is that multi-touch approach, right? Email, text, phone, things like that. A lot of buyers don't want to pick up the phone, right? If you call them, they are not going to pick up, I would say easily. Look, anybody who's watching this is a professional and you know exactly what it is. Maybe 8 times out of 10, you're getting that voicemail, right? And so to be able to text them and have a conversation with them, right, be armed with the right information. So when they do call you, right, because you've created so many of these sites, you've created so many of these data points where they are excited to reach out, right? They're going to call you first, right? And you're going to have that information ready, right? So you're not flying blind into the conversation. 54% of car buyers would pay more, right, for a better buying experience. And that is what you're doing with a tool like Fuel4Pros, like you do with my other solutions like LoJack or the AI surveillance, or your unified communication systems, right? Is you're tying all these things together to give somebody a better experience as they're coming into the funnel, through the funnel, and outside of the funnel, right? And you can continue to target them.
Right, exactly. I couldn't agree more. And what we want to do is just make things easier for our customers that work with us to get to their customers, right? Because one of the things I think that separates us too is that, with this type of approach and type of marketing, everything is very tangible, right? Like you can see the digital billboards, you can actually affect change on those digital billboards. You can actually see the script you're putting the script on the site, right? So you're physically doing that. You're seeing all of the leads populate into Fuel when you get your username and you log in. And you log in, you see your dashboard. You're seeing your conversions, you're seeing your email rates, you're seeing your open rates, you're seeing all this stuff. And you're also seeing all the leads populate in there and all the pieces of information, right? And what's nice about that too is that you own all of that data that's in Fuel. So that's Fuel is ours, but the data in Fuel pertaining to you and your customers is all your information. So you can export it into a CSV file. Those are all yours that you own for the lifetime for however long you'd like to have them. We can also set it up too if you don't want to use Fuel and you have your own CRM, we can set up a webhook to where it goes into Fuel and then over to Salesforce, over to HubSpot, whatever the case is, if you feel more comfortable using it that way too as well. And a lot of our publishers that we work with and owner operator sites, we actually will do that exact same thing where we'll store the leads for the customer and we'll actually send everything over to them, and they'll actually have call centers. They have their own, SDRs that work their leads, and they're like, yeah, we need the leads, but we'll have our team work for it. We do that for them too as well. And we have other people that pay for data, right, where they are in charge of feeding other customers leads, right? They just need good, solid leads and they want to feed them to their customers. That's how they make their money. We do the exact same thing where they pay for what's called a smart site. And we put the technology on the site, we track everything, and we send all the leads over there. We've had some customers, Dante, get anywhere from 50 to 60,000 leads and above, depending on how big the sites are in just 1 month, right? So they put a deposit down and then it just keeps running and they keep buying up more leads as they go along, almost like a prepaid card. And they get to do their job and we get to do our job and they connect with their customers. So there's a lot of different verticals and ways that we can actually use this with the
Mm-hmm.
data that we collect, with the customers that we serve, just kind of proving that it's not, just great for one, for automotive or one vertical. We can actually do this across the board.
Yeah, that's awesome. And like I said, beginning, most dealerships paying easily at least $250 per lead, right? And so if you get 50,000 leads that are actually going, and not just random, right? Like these leads aren't just, hey, here's a person who looked at a car. Here's somebody who's aware that vehicles exist. These are people that are going to a site that's created detailed specifically for your dealership, right? Or for that particular type of buy decision, right? Even outside of the automotive industry. So this type of stuff is like huge, right? And like Chris said, then you're able to divide and conquer. You're able to focus on the things you're good at. They focus on the things they're good at. Everybody wins in the end, right? We're looking for a mutually beneficial partnership.
Right, exactly. And what's nice about these leads too, one last thing I'll say is that everything is scrubbed against the DNC list, and a number of other lists that we have too, to make sure that we're not violating anything or sending any over information that's going to get anybody in trouble or sued. So we're really cautious about that and how our approach is. So we want to make sure that we can identify, if you have 100% of the visitors, we want to make sure that after scrubbing and going through everything, we can identify anywhere between 40 and 50% of those customers that have legit information, the email that they actually use, the phone number that they actually use, the place where they actually live, all of the stuff that's going to be important to our customers to try to turn those customers into buyers. We're going to make sure that they're armed with the most up-to-date information that they actually have, not information that's from 8 years ago. So I think that's one of the things.
Yeah, that DNC thing's pretty important, right? Like, while I know there's not any competitors to what you're doing, some of the closest type of solutions out there that are texting customers are doing so incorrectly. Like, if they tell you that they don't have to get an opt-in for it and all that stuff, and like they can just blast it out, they're going to get you into a lot of trouble, right? And
Right.
so to be able to actually definitively know that these people are not on a DNC list, that this is their proper email, like have that double opt-in type of capability is huge, right? We're talking long term, right? If you want to have sustainability with all the data practices that are going on in our industry, with all the protections that have to go into it. A solution like this is going to be paramount for the longevity of what you're doing, right? You don't want to make that quick buck and get shut down over a violation. And a solution like this keeps you in compliance, which is just as big, if not bigger, than capturing that first lead.
Yep, absolutely. I couldn't have said it better. So, the goal for us is to make sure that we have everything set up, compliant, that we're sending over the best data that we can, and helping our customers connect with their future customers in areas that they want to work with the right information that's all double opt-in compliant. Setting them up for success and partnering with them, in marketing, and retargeting the customers, and just making sure that they can be as successful as possible. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. So that's pretty much, our product, how it works across the board, and how we, connect, capture, and convert, for our customers.
All right, perfect. Well, thank you so much for sharing some of this information today. What I want everybody to do, and I encourage you to do, is go to oppuous.com/fuel4pros. So that's oppuous.com/fuel4pros, number 4, pros, and get a demo. We want to be able to show you the solution in real time, actually get to talk about it in your environment and understand exactly how this will work for you, how it's going to be able to become a powerful tool with you at the helm of it, right? So this was just a high level. Go in a little bit deeper, go ahead and visit that website and let's schedule a demo today. We're happy to do it. I want to, obviously thank Chris and Mike for joining me here today to show us this powerful tool. It's been very awesome to do so. And I also want to thank you for tuning in, right? Like all my subscribers, followers, everybody looking for the latest tools, all my automotive friends, be on the lookout. We're doing in-market opportunities where we're going to do some meetups, right? And talk about industry standards. So definitely stay tuned to all of us on social, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, or X now, whatever, all those places, and stay tuned for that. So everybody have a great day and see you soon.
Thanks, Dante.
Yeah.